What's going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you. And I wanted to bring you a story. Coming out of Spain, anti-immigration riots, anti-migrant riots, anti-illegal migrant riots. Right now, they're upset, and rightfully so, because a 68-year-old Spaniard was beaten by, I believe, a North African gang. And again, why is a gang there? Because of allowing the illegals to come into their country. Because again, they gotta be nice, they gotta be compassionate. No. Do you folks not understand? That will be coming here to America if we get somebody else like Biden, Obama, Kamala Harris, any of these fucking, no offense, fucking leftists is. It's coming here. It's coming to this country. And, we have got to be aware of that. And these blue and purple headed and green headed liberal fucktards, pardon my language, damn, they have no idea what they're fighting for. The people that come here from third world shithole countries, they're not your friends. They're not going to be your friends, no matter how nice you think you are. No matter how nice you're going to be, they're not going to return that to you or this country. But guys, watch what's happening in Spain.
I want to talk to you about what's happening in Spain because the streets of Spain have turned into chaos. Locals are clashing with migrant gang members. Let's just take a look at what's unfolded. Now, this all kicked off after an elderly man was randomly and brutally beaten up by three members of an African gang on Saturday, and this sparked outrage in the community. Now we're seeing violent clashes play out between migrant gangs and locals. Some of the vision is confronting, including vision of protesters wearing masks and shooting fireworks in the streets.
Guys, man, can't you see what's going to happen here? What's going to happen in this country if we ever elect another Democratic president to this country? Again, they're not going to save this country. They're going to open up the borders. They're going to allow everyone in. And again, diversity is not our strength. Diversity is nobody's strength. Assimilation is. We have to have some kind of common core beliefs. We have to. And again, I'm not that old, but this country worked better when I was younger. Definitely worked better. Right now, we're in chaos. We're going to be more in chaos. And thank God that Donald Trump is in office. Thank God, because again, if he wasn't, we would be in trouble right now. Big time. You know, under Biden, what they're saying almost 10 million people crossed that border And again, right before Biden took office, Trump had the border shut. He had the border shut up. But Biden right away opened that border. The Democrats are not your friend. People, you've got to understand that. They are not your friends. They will destroy the country. They will destroy you. And then they'll point the finger at the Republicans.
Sadly, not surprised. A 68-year-old man gets attacked by a gang of migrants, and the police are cracking down. They're cracking down. But they're cracking down on the people who are tired, who are fed up with their country being invaded. I feel for Europe, and I have a lot of fear for Europe because I believe Europe has laid down. They have laid down without a fight. I've never seen in the history, I've studied history. I've never heard of a continent being taken over by inviting the invaders in. Could you imagine they invited the Huns in back in the ancient times? Just come in, guys. Come in, Attila. It's okay. What's happening here, you can't, and look, politically correct or not, you cannot take people from the third world, stick them in the first world countries and say, okay, go ahead. There's no assimilation. There's nothing. And you have these random acts of violence, and then the police crack down on the people who are fed up. Look, I'm pro-immigration. I'm an American. My family are immigrants. I believe in immigration legally and through assimilation. And that's not what's happening here. What we have is just a flood of people who are fundamentally changing what it means to be European. European, unlike the United States was built on multiculturalism. Europe wasn't built that way. Europe had people who are specifically homogenous to these regions. They have the same culture. They have the same, things that they do, the same religious beliefs. And you just shoved millions of people in. And not only did you shove them in without any assimilation, but you're giving them preferential treatment. It's not just Spain. It's all across Europe. What's happening in Spain is just an example of what's been happening in Europe. The fact that they're arresting people on what they want to call the far right, and I like to call the common sense, but they call it the far right because that sounds dangerous. They're arresting those people who are finally saying, look, we're fed up. We're not racists. We're not haters, but we want safety in our own country. It's absolutely absurd. It's absurd what's happening there.
It is absurd. It is. Right now, around the world, we see what's happening in the far right. They blame the far right. Of course, some got a bad people. No. We're protecting our countries. We know what's going to happen. We see what's going to happen. And again, I would put myself on the far right now. It's funny, man. A decade ago, two decades ago, I would definitely not put myself on the far right. But I do now. I am definitely on the far right. I see what's going to happen. I've seen for years now what's going to happen. Again, all you got to do was turn on the damn TV. Or YouTube or something, because they don't believe this stuff on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS. They don't play this stuff. But it's happening in Spain, in France, in the UK. And it's going to happen here. But I want you guys to hear some of the arguments that the left, they have to make. Watch.
The immigration crisis is really rocking all parts of Europe. A town in southern Spain has been gripped by riots between anti-immigration Spanish people and quite a lot of North African migrants in the area. It was all sparked after a pensioner, an elderly man, was brutally beaten by a group of African youths. I'm sorry for the distressing image there on the screen, but truly horrific. So this senior person, he was doing nothing. He was just going about his business, and then he was set upon by a gang of North African migrant youths. Obviously, the community is now extremely scared and taking to the streets to, I guess, in what they see as defend their own people, given the police clearly aren't doing it. And of course, they're the ones being arrested and locked up. 10 have been arrested so far, probably more to come. But this just shows you the consequences of uncontrolled, illegal mass immigration.
And this is, I'm not defending violence on the streets, I'm not defending riots, etc. But what I am saying is that this is the direct consequence of governments not taking action. I mean, you eventually get to a point where people are so angry with the state of their country, and then you have something like that happens and it reaches a pressure point. And often when you reach those pressure points, people lash out and they do stupid things that they otherwise wouldn't do, and then you end up with a mob mentality, and then you end up with a riot. It was exactly the same in the UK. Of course, you'll remember those girls that were killed at a dance studio, a Taylor Swift thing that was going on there. And then there was misinformation put online saying that it was an illegal migrant who had killed them, and all of a sudden you've got riots on the street because people are so angry with what is happening in their country. I think that situation sounds entirely, possible.
No, I think that gives a fig leaf of justification for their actions, which I don't think is at all deserved. I don't think these are people who really care about the issue. I think these are violent thugs who are just using it as an excuse. And I think it's the same thing as the Black Lives Matter riots. You can't say, oh well, this is all the government's fault or this is all the police's fault because because a black person died in custody, so it's their fault that Portland, Oregon is on fire. Absolutely not. I think these people are criminals. I think they're thugs. I think there is a certain type of person who uses any excuse to play out pre-existing fantasies or pre-existing prejudices that they've already had. We know with the Cronulla riots, there was the supposed flashpoint of, an altercation between, I think, a lifeguard and some kids or something playing soccer on the beach. Next thing you know, it's being overrun by card-carrying neo-Nazis, card-carrying white supremacists, the sort of people I'd investigated, years before any of the supposed provocation took place. And these guys are just waiting for a chance to do what they were going to do anyway. And it's sick and it's wrong and it's disgraceful when the left does it, and it's sick and it's wrong and it's disgraceful when the right does it.
Yeah.
I agree. That Black Lives Matter, man, again, they do things because the media twists things to make it, like, oh my God, another black person was shot and killed or whatever by the police. And again, those poor black people. So yeah, I agree. The Black Lives Matter, Antifa, again, Antifa, I think a lot of times is hired to riot, to protest. Now, when it comes to Spain, people like that idiot little fucktard liberal, yeah, they're wrong. They're big time wrong. Because again, like in Spain, they're protecting their home. And my problem with people like this is that they will actually advocate for you not to be able to protect your home, yourself. Violence is never the answer, they say. Again, I agree that violence almost is never the answer, really. But at a certain point, when you are being invaded, when your home is being invaded, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, again, I definitely understand people rioting, people upset. I mean, again, they're being overtaken. They're coming into their homes. They're doing whatever. They're being overtaken. So again, at a certain point, I mean, you got to do something. You have to do something. If not, you have lost. You have lost your home. You have lost your country. You have lost. And again, people are fed up. Again, if somebody breaks into my house, They're leaving in a body bag. It's a story. And the fact of the matter is, man, people are upset. They can't walk down the street without getting beaten up. Some old man or older man was beaten on the street for what? For no reason. Again, it's just them asserting their dominance. And they have to be dealt with. Some way, shape, or form, they got to be dealt with. And if the government is not going to do anything to help these people, what else do they do? What other recourse do they have except to lay down and let them walk into their house, do whatever they want to do, rape, kill, beat up? And again, that's what the problem is. Some people like that guy right there. Again, they are a problem because again, they're one of these types of people that and nothing justifies violence. Nothing. Well, when somebody is raping your wife, when somebody is beating your kids, when somebody is breaking into your house, and doing whatever the hell they want to do, I guarantee you will feel very different. But guys, man, if you would like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think.